One of the best ways to find your people at Berkeley? Getting involved. But where do you even begin? Hello, and welcome to the Not So Secret Guide to Being a Berkeley Engineer. I'm your host, Laura Vogt, and today we're exploring student organizations, how to find the right fit, and why they matter more than you might think. I have two amazing guests, Laura Viera and Evan Wong. And just as a side note, I think this is funny. It's our 10th year of doing the podcast. It's the first time I've interviewed somebody named Laura. So if we get confused by my names, I apologize. So Laura and Evan are both co-presidents of the Engineering Student Council. So thank you both so much for being here. And can you take a moment to introduce yourselves and what being a Berkeley engineer means to you? We'll start with Laura.
Thank you so much, Laura. Hello and good morning. My name is Laura Viera, and I'm a junior at Berkeley studying civil engineering and minoring in data science. And for me, being a Berkeley engineer is just being a determined, persevering individual and just enjoying everything that Berkeley has to offer.
And Evan?
Yeah, hi, I'm Evan Wong. I'm a third year electrical engineering and computer sciences major. And for me, being a Berkeley engineer is knowing how to be an individual problem solver and also a collaborative one to tackle all kinds of problems in life.
So again, thank you for both for joining us today. I know it's your RRR week, which is the week before finals. So you have a lot going on and a lot to get ready for. So I appreciate your time. So let's get to some of these questions. So first off, for someone new to Berkeley Engineering, what is the Engineering Student Council and what does it do?
Yeah, so for ESC or Engineering Student Council, we are part of the student government for the College of Engineering. So, as co presidents of the club, we collaborate on internal and external events for the College of Engineering, and we basically put on a bunch of large scale events and activities for the engineering students on campus. And a big part of that is the Blue and Gold certification program, which we will get into the details later on. So yeah, some of the events that we do in February is we have Engineering Week, or AKA E-Week, and this is just a full week dedicated to making a bunch of events for the College of Engineering and our students. We also have a big e-ball, so at that Friday of that week, we host a big engineering ball. There's food and music and popcorn and a bunch of games and a bunch of pictures and photo booths, so it's just a way to celebrate everybody after a hard semester, or if they want to have like some fun within engineering, that's what that week is dedicated to. And we also have another large scale event. It's called Research Week. And this takes in the beginning of the fall semester, and it helps students connect with faculty and grad students. And they just become more aware about the research opportunities that we have on campus and just try to connect them with faculty.
And yeah, beyond that, we also really focus on advocacy for the students of the College of Engineering. Like our goal is to be able to advocate for the engineering student body, and we hope that students see this as an avenue to be able to just serve as advocacy for them, whether it's about like majors or broader issues, maybe in the college or other things that students might be thinking about. Like we plan town halls typically, also involving faculty and students so that they can talk about these issues.
Oh, that's awesome. I know that you've had some town halls, but I didn't realize that advocacy was the main point behind them. Um, you mentioned the Blue and Gold certification process, which is one of the things that I really like about what your organization does for all of the organizations in the College of Engineering. So can you tell us more about that certification and what it does for students?
Yeah, so the Blue and Gold certification program is one we created partnering with ESS, or Engineering Student Services, as essentially a way to make sure that students have an opportunity to be able to access organizations regardless of their background. So we want to make sure students that might have not have had the same privileges as some other students are able to still find that same community. And we've partnered with over like 50 student orgs to the point where we know they share the same sort of goal and they can help provide students with that sort of technical experience and without this technical background. So essentially trying to create a marriage of, I guess, a social experience as well as a technical experience without needing a technical background is just being able to step foot into these organizations.
And why is having students be in those organizations matter so much, especially for the engineering students?
Well, I guess student orgs can help expose engineering students to tools and skills that you wouldn't be learning as part of the theory in your coursework. I think this is super important. I guess, for example, if you're maybe working towards a competition, you learn the processes and tools to work with towards the goal and also how to work collaboratively with other people. And additionally, if you end up deeply involved in some of these orgs, you might end up learning important soft skills for life and industry, such as like leadership or interpersonal stuff.
Yeah, and to go off of what Evan said, it's important to learn how to engage with the team and actually communicate with people because Berkeley is so theoretical and it teaches you all about the fundamentals and the theory, but not so much about how to communicate with somebody and be engaged in a team. And that's something that I learned at my competition club team is I was able to apply the theory, but I had to be able to express it through competition presentations and such. And also, it's really nice to be engaged in clubs because engineering is so intensive at times and it could feel like all you do is study. So it's really important to engage in student orgs and at least try to find something that will make you feel like you're a student on campus that has so many resources for you to enjoy and reach out and have those memories and experiences that are not just the academic based experiences.
Laura, can you share a moment that where you were involved in a student org that made a real difference for either you or someone else that you were working with?
Yeah. So at ESC, I didn't really know too much about how being involved in a Berkeley club was. So ESC was the first club that I ever joined, and one of my tasks was to create an event for the engineering body. And I decided on hosting a volleyball game because when I visited Berkeley and I saw people on the Glade, I thought that it's so fun to like just get out of class and then you're like listening to music and you're on the Glade and you're having fun with your friends. Like that just seemed like a cool experience. So I was like, let's just create a volleyball game for everybody. And although ESC was pretty small at that time, so we didn't have like an amazing turnout per se, but there were a bunch of clubs that were on there at the Glade during that time, and they saw us setting up and they just wanted to join. And so we ended up playing volleyball for 2 hours that day. And it really motivated me to continue not just with ESC, but also to not let like a little bad thing turn into a negative experience for the whole event. Just making sure that reaching out, staying positive, it would really make a difference. And another part with ESC is Evan and I gave a talk on Cal Day. And that was really a fun experience because it's something that, as a freshman, I didn't think I would be able to give a speech to the other freshmen. So it felt like a full circle moment, and it was very special to do that.
That Cal Day this year was different because we were able to do our welcome in the Hospavilion. So folks listening today might actually have seen Laura and Evan give their presentation in their Berkeley jerseys. So what have you found that employers or internships actually value about that student org involvement? Does it help you outside of the college environment?
Yeah, I think this is actually a really interesting question. So I think there's like the obvious answer that like, oh, this org taught me how to use this tool or whatever, and I've used this on the job, right? Which might be like a very technical answer. But I honestly have found that like in my internship hunting experience, at least in the tech industry that I'm in, that employees are super interested in what work you actually accomplish in your student orgs and what personal traits these might show. Like for example, I was recently asked about like what I did on the engineering student council in some interview with the hiring manager, and I explained my responsibilities, like things I had accomplished with the org, and like for what reason, like why was I doing this? And I think the guys just seemed impressed, and I guess he passed me on to the final rounds, and I got the job, which it's not always this simple, of course, but I think student org involvement can display like what you can accomplish when not motivated by something like a grade, because like stuff in class, like everyone started working towards the same goal. It's very obvious, but for the student orgs, I think it's very much like driven by like students and very much like your own motivation.
Exactly to what Evan said, I relate to it as a civil engineer, where most employers they're looking for that leadership experience, the internship experience, and such. And everybody would be motivated by a grade. They all take the same classes, they've done the same programs, the same internships. So it's very important to kind of venture off a bit and try to become niche or become more like aware about something that you're actually really interested in. Because it's one thing to say that you're a president of a club and you list all of these accomplishments, which seem like you're just in it for the name. But it could be another thing where you're just a member and you're actually very, very into what you're doing and you show a lot of passion for it. And that's something that you can't really, it's different when you say it to what it's on your resume. And employers, when you're talking to them in person, they know that difference, that you're actually interested and passionate about what you're doing. And that just goes beyond what is written on paper on a list of accomplishments. And they actually want to learn more about things. So when I was a freshman and I started talking about ESC, I was just a member, but I think me showing about the passion in the Blue and Gold program and the events that we put on and the town hall events, that's, I think, what got them knowing that I was interested in not just being an academic student, but trying to engage in the student body as well. And that really sets you, or it helps you be apart from the rest of the group that just takes the same classes and is motivated by a grade, as Evan said.
Yeah, I would imagine that employers like the idea that you're well-rounded, and so this is showing that well-roundedness of what you all could do. Um, I imagine when you're looking at like the list of clubs or organizations that you're like, okay, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. So, what do you do when you don't feel qualified when you first get involved, or do you have help to figure it out? Like, how do you go about that?
Yeah. This one I've thought about a lot as well. But at least for me, I think that when I was stepping into like student orgs, like a lot of the times I didn't really feel qualified in a sense that like, oh, maybe I'm joining this like team that does things, but like I don't really know anything. But I think getting into these like sort of or like especially at Berkeley, I think taking these sort of risks, most people, especially if they're recruiting new members, they want new members, you know. It's not about I guess them trying to just get like the best people that have all the best experiences, in my opinion. They're just trying to create like a community that also is working towards the same cause. So I think taking the risk, at least taking like joining the engineering student council for me, like even like stepping into leadership positions has just helped me at least kind of level up in the sense, I guess, in terms of I guess I've never thought myself of being able to do things like Laura was saying earlier, speak at Cal Day. But I think everyone can sort of grow to these sort of challenges if they're like very interested and given the opportunity.
Yeah, and that's something that we talked about a bit in our speech for the freshmen is being open to that opportunity and taking that first stepping stone into new experiences. Because at least for me, I didn't feel like I was qualified to be involved in engineering student council. Like it seemed very like a big title, and basically anybody was able to join if you show interest and involvement, and that's the truth for a lot of different clubs. um, the truth is, like, the first club that you join probably isn't going to be the one that's going to last you for your whole college experience. Maybe it's just for a semester or two, but you feel qualified once you actually show interest and passion. And if you do feel a little bit lost, you don't really know what to do, what helped me a lot was talk to mentors or people that do have that experience. Like when I was a freshman, I talked to Ryan and Hannah, who were the ESC presidents at that time, and they were just able to guide me through what the club is and how to run events. So that's what is available to all of the clubs basically. Everybody at Berkeley just really wants to help you out. They were in those shoes before. So it's not a crazy thing where you don't feel qualified and you don't think that you could do it, but everybody has felt that way at one point. And so it's really important to just reach out to those people who do have those experiences and they're able to apply that knowledge to you down the line.
So, how do you end up actually choosing which club, organization, competition team to be part of?
Yeah, honestly, there's so many different approaches to this sort of thing depending on the person. But I think personally, a good starting point for Berkeley engineers is to look into student orgs related to their major. There's so many different like major societies and stuff like that. Since you can meet or get advice from other students walking similar career or academic paths, or even completely different ones, and get inspired by them. Like me personally, I joined some of those, and I've slowly like learned about like different like career paths that like I wouldn't even have like known existed like if I hadn't like talked to other people who like just happen to know maybe off of someone else. But also joining any like hobbies that you might have prior to college or looking to get into in college is just great. Like joining a student org shouldn't just be solely on based on advancing your career. So like it should be also an opportunity to join a circle where you feel comfortable and also have a lot of fun. So feel free to explore as much as you might want without compromising your own personal work-life balance. Like join that like I don't know, pickleball like club or something or like Rubik's Cube club, even if like yeah, I don't know. Maybe you've never touched a Rubik's Cube. Maybe you'll really enjoy it.
Exactly to what Evan said. As a freshman, I think I tried out like six different clubs. They were like art clubs and academic clubs and competition teams. And I ended up sticking up with only two of those clubs. But it's really important to just try out different things. In one of those competition teams, I made good friends and we ended up making an intramural soccer team. So, out of those experiences, you just create new ones that you never really thought that you would make in the beginning. And yeah, as Evan said, it's important to do things that are in your field. As a civil engineer, there's a bunch of different competition teams and clubs that you can try to be a part of. And even though it might not be related to the path that you want to take after college, there's still fun environments to be a part of, and it really helps you create those experiences that last beyond a classroom setting.
Hiring you talk about that you've done six, that you started off with six, but you've ended up with two that you stayed with, makes me think about what's a healthy level of involvement actually look like. I know as these students come in, getting involved in anything and everything probably sounds awesome, but how do we make sure that you're still getting that wellness, that you get your sleep, that you give yourself time to study and do laundry and things along those lines?
The healthy level of involvement is really from person to person. And I think for me, at least, it ranges into what my semester looks like. Because for me, my academics is a priority. I do want to try to make the best out of what I can with my grades and GPA, which is important to employers. But beyond that, once I feel comfortable with how I'm doing and being able to put in my efforts into my academics, that's when I could venture off and try to become more involved in clubs and teams. This is something that was important to me too after freshman year, where I decided, okay, I think I'm fit enough to do a work study program. So I started working at the CAE and devoting more time there too. And then along with ESC and my two other competition team clubs. So it's really just a journey. My advice is not to put everything, all your eggs into one basket the first year, because college is 4 years and it's going to look completely different to what you think it is at the beginning. So just enjoy that. Try to talk to as many people as you can. Get advice from peer advisors to ESS, students in those clubs because they know most. And yeah, just enjoy it. Don't do too much at the beginning because that healthy involvement level is something that you're going to develop over time.
Yeah, I think I'd also add to Laura's answer that there's no shame in stepping away temporarily or even walking away entirely from some experiences that would be harming you, of course. Because, I mean, sacrificing your mental health and stuff like that, you shouldn't be losing your sleep. You shouldn't be sacrificing your physical health either for all these student organizations. But I think in the end, I think knowing yourself and feeling out your own work-life balance is definitely the best way to go about it.
So looking back, how has being involved in organizations and competition teams helped shaped your college experience?
Yeah, I think it kind of relates to that experience of like what would college be like without those clubs and experiences, and it wouldn't be the same at all. I came into ESC not knowing anybody or how the club was run or feeling underqualified. But again, it's like that journey that you end up making a lot of memories that are just unforgettable. And it's really fun. You get to go on retreats and make new friends. And like we said, give a speech at Cal Day. These are things that you don't really think that are going to happen, but it's those opportunities that come along the way when you least expect it that makes college so fun, and just enjoying the process of those experiences and those skills that as a freshman you don't think that you're able to have, but over time they develop and you just grow as an individual. And it's just, I think it's a beautiful experience, and had super fun with that. So really enjoyed being involved in different clubs and extracurriculars.
Yeah, I think being involved in student orgs has, helped me also navigate plenty of things. And aside from there's so many factors like making friends and learning skills, we also made some amazing memories, like Laura said, maybe and through random events or retreats or just side quests in clubs. And it's also helped me make career decisions that I've honestly never even considered before. I think I mentioned before, how stuff like, I know, I was joining not even like a major society, but also in some like, career-oriented student orgs, I've just like heard about some things that I'd never even considered before. And I think my current like career direction has been completely shaped by my student org experience because of that. And also, like, I think something that's also not talked about maybe is that in student orgs, you're also interacting with people across different school years. So I've made friends in like the dorms and my classes and stuff, but also through student orgs, I think I've gotten to connect a lot with people in different school years and got to like hear about their experiences. Maybe like older, like upperclassmen have given me advice about certain things that are coming up. And it's even like interesting to learn from like underclassmen, like things that are changing as well.
Well, that's awesome. If you hear that a student is on the fence about joining a student organization, what would you say to them to give them that push to be like, no, you got to try it?
Yeah, so honestly, my biggest tip is to give it a try. But of course, talk to the people involved in the student organization to feel it out, or maybe talk to your peers that might be interested as well. Because I've personally found it a lot more comfortable if someone I kind of knew might be interested in joining the organization with me. So it can be helpful if like you maybe know a friend or something, you're both maybe interested, maybe you're both engineers, you're like, oh, maybe we'll both join this engineering org. But if you don't end up liking it, many people in student orgs are super understanding of the circumstances and probably have poked around different communities themselves. I think, Laura was talking about how she was like in six clubs and then ended up with two. I think I had a similar scenario. I've probably been maybe like five student orgs, but over time I found sort of like trying to balance my own academics, like work-life balance. I've stuck with only maybe two. So I think this is like a completely normal thing. Like obviously don't try to like I don't think it's super the nice thing to do to be like, oh well, I don't really care about this organization whatsoever, so I'm not gonna do anything unless they like force me to like do things. But I think definitely finding like your sense of community and finding out where like you maybe are more comfortable in is like definitely something you should keep in mind.
What do you think
Yeah.
that? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna add a little bit onto what Evan said. Everybody is within that same boat of not feeling like they're qualified or too busy, not experienced. So definitely reaching out to people would help a lot. And if you don't feel like it's the right time, don't force yourself into something where you don't think you're able to put in everything that you want to. It, it's okay to tell those clubs or orgs that, hey, I'm interested, but maybe I can't this semester or this week be involved in this type of activity. Can I still learn more about it and try to give my full best within this next couple of weeks or be more involved next semester? And that really sets the tone of, I'm really interested in this, I want to continue, and they know that you want to do it. So it's way better than just saying, I can't do this, I'm not experienced enough, and I'm not going to try it at all.
And I don't think we touched on this yet, but how do you find out about what is available out there?
Yeah, so I believe there are a lot of sources, honestly, that are floating around about how to find these sort of things. So at least on CalLink, there are lists of student orgs that you can actually look for the general, like maybe not necessarily engineering, could be hobby or other orgs. But for Blue and Gold and ESC supported organizations, on our website we have a list of Blue and Gold certified organizations, which I think we touched on earlier, means that usually are more, but they are more open and willing willing to accept people who may or may not have more or less experience. So we believe that their principles of equity and inclusion are well aligned with our beliefs, at least.
And what's the website address they should go to?
I believe it's esc.berkeley.edu.
And our last question of the day, is it ever too late to get involved?
Yeah, so I'm under the firm belief that it's never too late to get involved. And if you're interested in a student org and display all that interest, the org is lucky to have you, and I'm sure you'll do great. At least at ESC, and I know all the other blue and gold orgs. Any interested member is like a super valued member and welcome in open arms. So I'd highly encourage that if you think it's too late, that it's definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not too late. It's on a rolling basis. You put in whatever you want to put in, and it's open to everybody. So never too late to join clubs.
Well, thank you, Laura and Evan, so much for being here today and giving us all this information about student organizations and the Engineering Student Council. Um, I really, like I said before, I appreciate your time and your energy and your knowledge on this subject.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Laura. Very, very welcoming and very happy to be on this podcast.
And thanks you everyone for listening to the Not So Secret Guide to Being a Berkeley Engineer. Getting involved is one of the best ways to build community, so don't be afraid to try something new and find where you belong. Be sure to explore the rest of our series for more ways to make the most of your Berkeley experience, and we look forward to welcoming you to the College of Engineering this fall.